The views and content expressed on the following program are provided solely for informational and entertainment purposes. They do not constitute legal advice. A podcast is not a substitute for retaining a competent, licensed attorney to advise you on your specific legal situation.
Break the business, play is work and work is play. Power into creators, have fun along the way. Break the business, doing what it takes. Celebrate success and learn from the mistakes.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the show. It is time for Break the Business, where we empower indie creators and have some fun along the way. I'm Ryan Kairalla, and it is a pleasure to have you here this week. I am giddy this week, viewers and listeners, just absolutely giddy. My heart is beating so fast, I'm downright Twitter-pated. I am so excited to have the conversation that I know I'm about to have, because I've been thinking about this conversation for the last 96 hours, and I need to have it with the person I'm about to have it with. Before we get into that conversation, though, do have to mention we got a great guest coming up in the second segment. We're going to be joined by music executive Jason Davis of 117. We've had him on the show before. Super knowledgeable, great dude. Is going to have some great insight for us, so stick around for that. Lots of advice to be had. We're going to talk about the Protect Working Musicians Act. The text has been released for that. We're going to go over that. Big stuff for indie creators there. And we got the AI Overlord tip of the week. We got a musical performance later in the show. We got ourselves a jam-packed show. But top of the agenda, the conversation I want to have with the person I want to have it with, that's what we're doing right now. Let me go ahead and bring in our co-host, Katie Zaccardi. Hello, Katie.
I am ready for this.
The stars have aligned, Katie Zaccardi. The co-host rotation landed perfectly on you to have this conversation that we are about to have. Katie, your girl, Taylor Swift, invaded my football Sunday this past weekend in the skybox of the Chiefs-Bears game, rooting on her boyfriend, friend, not sure what's going on there. Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce. Producer Lauren, always on the spot there, has the picture up of Taylor Swift in the skybox next to Travis Kelce's mom. And she is just having the time of her life in perfect Chiefs colors, all the way down to the Chiefs red lipstick, just fully embracing Chiefs football and just having a great time. And we were all having a great time watching her have a great time. It was great television. The Chiefs-Bears game, despite being a crappy football game with a god-awful Bears team, was the number one rated football game of the day, despite the fact that my Miami Dolphins scored 70 points in a game. It's the most points scored in a game in like 70 years. And it got outrated by a bad Chiefs-Bears game because Taylor Swift showed up. And I'm fine with that, by the way. I'm not a bitter Dolphins fan at all. I would have rather watched the Chiefs-Bears game had I known Taylor Swift was going to be there. Resident Taylor Swift fan expert Katie Zaccardi, your thoughts?
Slay. That is my thoughts. It's a slay.
Slay indeed.
I have so many thoughts, it's almost hard to articulate them. We don't know if this is just like really good PR to get people talking. You know, there's rumors that it's their first date. There's rumors that they met back in July. Like, what we do know is that Travis Kelce made a friendship bracelet to give to Taylor Swift when he saw her in Kansas City in the July show of her tour. But then he was like, oh, they don't, like, she doesn't talk to anyone, whatever. Did they actually meet? And they were just like throwing us off the scent? Like, we don't know, but I'm so curious. And could it be fake? Yes. Does my crossover of and Taylor Swift and apparently now NFL TikTok say that they're soulmates? Also, yes. So I am going to believe it's real. And I just think it's so cute. Like, regardless of what stage of relationship they're in, if it's real, if they're going to make it, I like the two of them together. It's a very different energy than we've seen before with like her relationships, I feel like. And I love the ability that this gave us to troll men. And I can elaborate on that if you would like.
I would actually. What men trolling is happening by virtue of the? Oh, look at that! There's Travis Kelce on the left, and a very happy Taylor Swift enjoying the game on the right. Tell me about your theory about men trolling from this.
Well, it's not a theory; it is a practice, and it's something that I hope to do to some of my guy friends soon. We'll see if I can pull it off. But there is a trend now on TikTok of women saying to their boyfriends or their dads or their brothers, like, oh my God, can you believe that Taylor Swift totally put Travis Kelce on the map this week? Like, nobody knew who he was until this happened. And then the men being like, what do you mean?
He's a Super Bowl champion.
Everyone knows who he is.
He's the best tight end in football.
Exactly. He's the best tight end out there. So anyway, I love that. It's just so funny to me. And I really want to do it. I really want to make that joke to someone. But I don't know. I don't know if there are people out there who really do believe that he is more successful or maybe well-known is the word I'm looking for than Taylor Swift, because I don't think that is even arguable. Like,
it's not even close.
Right, like internationally well-known. You don't have to like her, but she is more well-known than he is, just like point blank period. More successful, point blank period. However, I like, and I think he likes that he's like pulling up. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I think he likes that she's more successful. I just hope that men across America can acknowledge that, because it is the truth.
It's a masterpiece. I love every piece of this. Whenever we do an episode of Break the Business, Katie, I put in fastidious research into the topics that we discuss each week. I know often there's precious little evidence of that from week to week, but I really do put in the research. And I'll tell you, like, the amount of research I have, for example, on the Protect Working Musicians Act that we're going to talk about this week, I got a nice amount of research. I have maybe a third about as much notes on that as I do about this Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing. I have reams of things, of notes, of topics, of subtopics that I want to talk about with this. I cannot remember the last topic I've been more interested in on this program, of many topics that I've been interested in on this program, than Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. And by the way, I need to know this from the Taylor Swift expert. What portmanteau is the T-Swift community going with here? Is this Swelsey or is this Quift? Trailer Quift?
That sounds like... no. I don't know. That's a good question, and they both sound horrible, to be honest with you. I don't like either of them.
You don't like Swelsey? I like Swelsey.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
See, Quift is good because you can say Trailer Quift and like put both names first and last in there, get like a double portmanteau, but Swelsey has the word swell in it. I like it. Yeah,
okay. I would pick that one if I had to vote. You're right. But that's a good question. I'll have to spend 2 more hours on TikTok this evening to try to figure out what people are calling them.
Yes, please get back to us on that, because I know I cannot possibly have been the first one to think of either of those two names, and the Swifties have probably already ran with this and picked one. Now, look, to the point that I think you had mentioned in your discussion there about whether this is a PR stunt. I think there is no doubt that there is significant PR stunting happening here, right? A lot of this is orchestrated, up to and including the fact of them like walking down the hallway together and leaving in a convertible. You know, if they, because obviously that, they wanted people to see the two of them together. If they wanted Taylor Swift to leave the building with nobody seeing her, they could have orchestrated that, right? They could have like hid her in something and had her leave. They put her in that position where she was walking out with Travis Kelce because they wanted people to see her with Travis Kelce. She could have watched the game out of the view in like a more private skybox. They had her front and center right next to Travis Kelce's mom. This is a PR contrivance. However, I significantly dispute the notion that it is solely a PR contrivance. And for the people out there, the cynics out there who just want to, you just don't want to believe in love, or at least affinity and affection and think that there couldn't at least be an ounce of admiration between these two? Like, what profit is there in living that way? Why be such a Debbie Downer about this? Why take the most pessimistic possible view of this? Why can't these two people have some kind of spark that brought them together, and then an enterprising team of publicists said, yes, let's also milk this for everything that it's worth?
Yeah.
Let's enjoy this. Let people enjoy this. Don't just be the Debbie Downer. Don't just be the bread and circuses. This is just bread and circuses trying to mollify the masses. Like, come on, just let this be fun. This is fun. I submit to you, one of the most fun things we have in live television is Taylor Swift excited about anything. Whenever there's an award show, you put Taylor Swift in the crowd, you give her an aisle seat because you want to be able to cut to shots of her really excited to see somebody on stage at the award show. That is always great television. The NFL figured this out. They put her in a skybox in view of the camera so that when Travis Kelce scored a touchdown, you got to see excited Taylor Swift losing her freaking mind, which is amazing television. That was so much fun to watch.
Yeah, she wanted to be seen, and it's not a coincidence that like her 1989 Taylor's version is coming out in a few weeks, and I think there, like you said, there's this beautiful like, where is it? We don't really know where on the spectrum of like PR to like they're deeply in love this falls, but I think it's somewhere in the middle, and I just think that both of them, like he has a podcast. She's got stuff that like they both just like to be seen, I think, and they're smart about being like, all right, well, might as well break the internet with this.
Yeah.
And him wearing a suit that was like called 1989 that had like 1989 vibes. Like, come on. I don't know how planned it was, but I think there was some mastermind energy behind it. Personally, though, I'm here for the rom-com vibes. Like, I just feel like this feels like new and fresh and like fun and like not drama. And I love it. I'm here for it.
It's so cute. And to the argument, I would say that there is like no romantic interest here. I would say in response, then why is she meeting his mom? Why is she next to his mom? And by the way, that is so person in their 30s to meet the mom like within a few days of meeting the person you're dating. Is like, I got to meet that mom right away. There's no time to waste. We got to meet the family. I got to meet the parents. I got to make sure my future in-laws are good people before we get too deep into this relationship. Yeah. I love that kind of energy, right? That is not messing around right there.
But it's also possible they've known each other for 3 months now, because it was like the beginning of July that she had her show in Kansas City. So like she easily could have known him for July, August, and September. And they could have been dating this whole time. We don't know. We don't know. But I will say this, to people who think that it's like all PR, I feel morally, I'm like, that's kind of like yucky to get your mom involved in a PR stunt about a fake relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you just got to go tell Travis Kelce's mom, like, hey, you're going to hang out with Taylor Swift.
Yeah, no mom is going to participate in that exercise.
Yeah, that's weird. So...
especially Mama Kelce, who is sort of well known in NFL circles as being like the classic mom, like the very protective mom, right? She is the mom of 2 NFL stars because her other son, Jason Kelce, is on the Philadelphia Eagles. They're both excellent football players. And she loves, and she's like a big mama bear for both of these gentlemen. I can't imagine that she would be a willing participant in a pure PR contrivance to help build Taylor Swift's career. And one of our commenters, I don't know if we have this commenter, we can put it up, but I saw it in the comments. Somebody wrote, Taylor Swift doesn't need the PR. She's the biggest star in the world.
True.
So like, you know, if this was just about PR, like there's 1,000 ways that she can get PR that don't involve, you know, dating Travis Kelce.
That's true. But I think she doesn't need it. But like, again, she's releasing an album in a few weeks. I think October it's coming. Like
the concert film.
It's not gonna hurt her to be in the news. I don't think she's like gonna be mad about people talking about her. You know what I mean?
Well, and here's my argument that Travis Kelce might feel the feelings for one Taylor Swift and that it's not just a PR contrivance for him. Travis Kelce could have picked any game to invite Taylor Swift to, right? It's a 17-game season. He could have picked any game. It is no coincidence that he picked the Chiefs-Bears game. That Bears team is atrocious. That is a bad football team. If I want to impress a girl and I'm a football player, I'm inviting her to the game where I know we're going to kick the crap out of the opponent.
Yeah.
And
fair.
so, like, you know, he didn't pick Chiefs-Dolphins.
Yeah.
He picked Chiefs-Bears. And
Also-
that's the game that you want to impress a girl. You're going Chiefs-Bears.
And interestingly, and you know, Ryan, I'm not a big sports girl, but I do know this, that the Chiefs and the Eagles were in the Super Bowl together, and she is an Eagles fan. So that's a little spicy.
There are some people who think this is like some kind of deep undercover operation.
Amateur, like
Yeah, where she's a double agent for the Eagles, and she's going to eventually destroy Travis Kelce to allow the Eagles to finally win that Super Bowl that they narrowly lost last year. But I don't like it. Just seems
I don't either.
It seems so sweet, Katie Zaccardi. It seems so sweet, and like the way that Taylor Swift gets excited about things, where like when Kelce scored that touchdown, you could hear her mouth "let's effing go," and like her arms are up, and she's got that bright red lipstick. I would want anybody in my life to be that excited about anything that I do for a living, even if it's fake, right? If it's fake, it is the most amazing fake celebration I've ever seen. Like, I would rather have her fake celebration of the work that I do than anybody's real celebration, because nobody does live television celebration better than Ms. Taylor Swift.
Get someone who will fake happiness and excitement about you like Taylor Swift does about Travis Kelce.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, if we're going to give advice, that's the romantic advice to give. And, and some people are saying, oh, yeah, it's not going to last. This is what Taylor Swift does. She breaks up with guys. She makes music out of them. First of all, you don't know that that's true, right? This could be the one that turns it around. But also, if we're going to keep the romantic advice coming, you don't define the success of a relationship by the outcome. Some people are meant to walk with us on our journey for a lifetime, and some are meant to join us for a brief period and then we part our ways. But none of those people are any more or less special. And whatever happens with this Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing, we got to have one magnificent Sunday that was so much fun that we completely forgot that Miami Dolphins scored 70 points and nobody cared.
Wait, on that note, before we went live, I saw a really funny TikTok that was like, some family posted a photo on Twitter that every Dolphins game, they take a tequila shot every time they score a touchdown. And the tweet was like that. And then it was like, after this game, we are now rethinking this tradition.
Those people are dead.
Yeah. So everyone was like, did somebody check on them? Like, are they okay?
Because what you said was one shot of tequila per touchdown?
Yeah.
There were 10 touchdowns in that game.
Yeah,
Exactly. That is an unconscionable amount of alcohol.
Yeah.
All right.
So thinking of those people as well today, RIP.
Well, before we talk about the Protect Working Musicians Act, let's stay with our Travis Kelce theme here for a bit and go with our AI Overlord tip of the week. That was so mean what I did to producer Lauren. I did producer Lauren so dirty there. Lauren, can you pop in here for a second? I need to apologize to you. That was so freaking mean that you had no way of seeing coming that I was going to go to AI Overlord tip of the week. There was no way you could have that imaging ready. I am so sorry. But now there are two images of live television that are from this week that are amazing images. And like my two favorite pieces of live television that I've experienced this week are, one, Taylor Swift celebrating that Travis Kelce touchdown. followed in a close second by the look on producer Lauren's face in the virtual green room when she realized I was going to AI Overlord and gave her no heads up, and just like how big her eyes got.
Yeah. Sorry, everybody.
No,
Radio
my
delay.
apologies.
Full panic.
While we have you here, any thoughts? Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce?
Oh, I was going with Tay Trey.
Ooh.
I like that.
Tay Trey.
I like that instead of Tay Tay. It's Tay Trey. I like
Because
that.
everybody's like Tay Tay. Why can't we have Tay Trey? No?
I like.
This is what
I
happens
think
when I
that's the
sit
best
backstage.
one.
I mean, we could just go all the way there and just be like, we're gonna go with Taylor Kelsey. And
I
then
was
move on
gonna
with our
say,
day.
just call her what it is. Call her what she
We'll
is
just
going
go
to be.
Taylor
all the way
Kelsey.
there. Though, if something happens between them at that level, is she changing her last name? I mean, are
doubt
we?
it.
Given their career trajectories, I think he needs to change his name.
I was wondering.
Yeah, literally.
We've got
Which-
Travis Swift.
Travis
here.
Swift.
By the way, Swift, an amazing name for a football player,
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
especially a wide receiver. Travis
that?
Swift, that guy is going to be an all pro. That is
I
a
know.
great football name.
That being said, imagine the children that they would have.
What's the?
And she's tall, and he's an athlete, and she's
Yeah.
incredible.
They're
my
both
God.
gorgeous, so
They could
why
do
not?
anything.
Ryan, who's the football player? Because now I feel bad. Who's the football player who changed his name legally just so it was awesome to say? Do you
Well,
know who I'm talking
there
about?
was an old NFL wide receiver named Mark Duper
no,
who changed his name to Mark Super Duper. Oh, there was Chad Johnson,
I'm gonna
and
find
he
it out
changed his
and get
name to
back
Chad
you.
Ochocinco.
No. There's a way cooler one now.
There's another one?
Oh,
This is
I
too
will,
many.
I will get back to you on
All
this.
right,
while
you come
do
back
our
to
AI
us.
Overlord tip of the week.
Okay, so in honor of the new Mr. Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, I asked the AI overlord ChatGPT to give us a piece of advice for indie creators based on Travis Kelce. And so here's what we got here. Indie creators, let's find motivation from the remarkable journey of Travis Kelce. 1. Overcoming adversity. Early in his career, Kelce faced a year-long suspension in college that could have derailed his dreams. Instead, he turned it around with determination. Every creator can face setbacks, but it's how you bounce back that defines you. Number 2, unique role mastery. A tight end like Kelce isn't just a receiver, but is also an essential blocker. This dual role requires adaptability and a broad skill set. As creators, hone diverse skills. Don't just be good, be versatile and valuable. Number 3, authentic connection. One of Kelce's standout attributes is his ability to form strong connections with his QB, teammates, and fans, and pop stars. I added that last one. In your work, prioritize building genuine relationships with your audience and collaborators. Creators, draw from Kelce's playbook and find your unique path to success. The thing I'm most excited for about this is all of the Swifties that are going to learn all of these football terms and become huge football fans because of this. And now I get another thing to like share with my fellow Swifties about. Like, we get to talk about Taylor Swift, and we're going to talk to Swifties about breaking down nickel defenses, and that's going to be a blast.
Yes, I love that. I love that tip. That, like, way to go, Chad. You really nailed it this week. And
Chad did nail it this time.
that was so like, wholesome and true. And it just makes me like Travis even more.
Oh, see, this, I'm telling you, there's something about this one. Like, I know you Swifties, you never want to get attached to the person that Taylor brings in next because you never know if it's going to stick around. But, you know, maybe you might be able to, you know, let this one take you to the zoo because, you know, this guy might have staying power. All right, before we bring in our guest, I do want to talk, you know, at least a smidge about some of the things going on in the entertainment industry, Katie. Last week, I talked with producer Lauren about a new piece of legislation, which is in a way an old piece of legislation, but it has come roaring back, and I'm very glad it's here. The Protect Working Musicians Act of 2023. We've talked about this bill in the past because it was previously introduced by Representative Ted Deutsch, who has since left Congress. But now Representative Deborah Ross has taken up the mantle of this legislation. We talked about it being introduced last week, but we didn't get to look at the text of the legislation until that appeared this week. And it's a pretty cool piece of legislation. Katie, let me give you a little bit of background on what's going on with this piece of legislation, right? I know you're closely following everything that's going on with the WGA strikes and the SAG-AFTRA strikes. They just announced that they have a deal, the writers do, with the motion picture and television producers. The writers are going back to work. The WGA strike is over. That's fabulous. And they got a lot of big wins from that strike. They're getting better. They're going to get better residuals from streaming services. They're limiting the use of AI. They're going to do some things that are going to get the writers paid more. That's awesome. And so these creators are getting a boost to their livelihood because they were able to collectively bargain as a union to get better pay and to get better working conditions. But there are lots of creators who don't have the ability to do that, one of which is independent working musicians. Independent musicians who, for example, can't get a great deal with Spotify, right? Like Spotify pays very poorly, and the law does not allow all of the musicians to say band together and form a union that would allow them to collectively bargain against Spotify and say to Spotify, if you want all of our music, you have to give all of us a better deal than what you're giving us right now, the 0.6 of a cent per stream. The reason why creators can't do that is because of antitrust law. The WGA can do that because they are legally considered employees. Musicians can't do that because they are considered independent contractors, and labor law does not let them collectively bargain. However, the new legislation, the Protect Working Musicians Act, would change that. We've read the text of the bill that just came out this past week, and what it says, Katie, is that independent music creators, if this law passed, would not be liable under the antitrust law for negotiating with music streaming platforms like Spotify, or even music video platforms like TikTok. Anything where they're negotiating the use of their music on platforms like Spotify, TikTok, YouTube, they can do that and collectively bargain to get a better deal without it violating antitrust law. This is a big piece of legislation for me, and I think it's going to be a big win for creators if it can pass. And if this were a year ago, I would say legislation like this doesn't have a great chance of passing. People aren't talking about, collective bargaining rights for creative professionals. But I think the WGA and SAG strikes are changing things, Katie, where you have people for the first time starting to give a damn about the working conditions of creative professionals. And they're saying, we like that the writers are getting a better deal by collectively bargaining. We like that the actors are getting a better deal by collectively bargaining. Let's let musicians do the same thing. And that's what this law is all about.
That is really fascinating. And the biggest question that comes up for me about that is, if it does pass, how would we do that? Because obviously the actors and the writers are in unions, which makes it a lot more clean cut. Like, you're in this group and it's going to strike or negotiate. How would musicians do that? Do you think there would be an organization, a formal organization that pops up that people would join, or would someone just have to spearhead a movement?
Well, it would probably be a little bit of both, right? You're going to need some organization created that's going to take all of these independent creators under their umbrella and, some kind of, group effort where this one body can then negotiate against a Spotify, a TikTok, a YouTube to make these deals happen. It's a lot of work, as organized labor often is, as collective bargaining often is, but it's important work. And it's from where I'm sitting, I think it's the only thing that can actually move the needle for independent creators and create opportunities for them, because this sort of thing can't be done with legislation in terms of like legislating a better deal for creators, because it's just too complicated. You need an organization that represents the interests of these creators to get in there and negotiate on a level playing field with the tech platforms to create real opportunities. Now, here's what I'm thinking, though, and I talked a little bit about this with producer Lauren last week, is this is good legislation and it should pass. But as far as I'm concerned, it's just step one. Yeah. Because the musicians that make their own recordings and put them on Spotify, that's just one group of indie creators that are currently getting a tough deal with tech platforms. I say, what about TikTokers? Like people who make videos for TikTok? What about YouTubers? What about live streamers on Twitch? These are all groups that have to effectively sell their labor to a tech platform that, let's be honest, doesn't pay a lot of them very well. Particularly TikTok has faced a lot of criticism for how low it pays its creators. Mm-hmm. And platforms like Twitch have faced a lot of criticism in the Wall Street Journal recently about how tough the working conditions can be for streamers and how they have to stream for many, many hours a day just to make enough money to be able to earn a decent living. That's the kind of stuff that collective bargaining can fix. So once we create these opportunities for indie creators, we need a Protect Working Musicians Act for live streamers, for YouTubers, for TikTokers, because they're all suffering just as much against these tech platforms.
Yeah, this is just such like a nuanced and vast topic, I feel like, because you have people in music, on streaming, on YouTube, on TikTok who are making tons and tons and tons of money. And then you have people who are making none. And there's just like, there's no regulation. There's no consistency. There's nothing. And when I think about this, it almost makes my head hurt because I'm like, there's just so many creators and so many musicians out there. Like, how are we possibly going to do it? But I think that you're right. Like, this is the first step, and it just feels so daunting because we've never gotten anywhere close to something like this before. But I am really, really curious to see where this goes, because I think a lot of people's perspectives are changing on work and pay in general in the music industry and beyond. And so to me, like, this is a really good sign. People are sticking up for themselves and finally saying, like, we have had enough. Clearly, the workplace is changing. People are working remote. People are able to be creators, and that is a really valued job. I mean, brands pay creators millions of dollars to promote their stuff. Maybe millions is an exaggeration, just to a degree.
Not for, for many creators, it's true,
It's true, yeah. So, like, I think that it is really important that we are all changing as this is, we're kind of just like letting it change in front of our eyes, but not really like grasping it in like a real tangible way, I feel like. So is so important, and I'm very excited to see what happens next.
I share that excitement. I share that enthusiasm. You're right to say that the journey is a long one, right? If this bill passes, that's just the beginning of the work, right? The organizing comes next. The bringing creators together comes next. Being organized, understanding and acknowledging that as creators, we are stronger with one voice than with a collection of millions of voices in a vast sea. Yeah. But it's going to be really cool to see this happen if it does. And the WGA and SAG have shown other creators the way. We are now starting to see what happens when creators collectively bargain, when they organize for their rights. And I want to see this across the entertainment industry. This is going to be really, really exciting to see. We already have a request out to Representative Deborah Ross. We're circling getting that interview with the Congresswoman. There has been communication. We're hoping to land that plane, because I'm excited to have this exact conversation with her. Yeah. Okie dokie. Let us take a break. We're going to talk with music executive Jason Davis. Excited to have him back on the show again. Don't go anywhere. Keep checking out Break the Business.
Ryan Kairalla here. I hope you're enjoying the show, and I hope that you're getting a lot out of it. I do what I do because I care about creators like you. A lot. I've dedicated my career to helping creative professionals, entrepreneurs, and organizations move forward. I do it by hosting this program, and I'm also proud to do it in my legal practice. If you're a creative professional looking for solutions-oriented legal services to help you further your goals, I'd love to help. My firm RKPA does contracts, commercial law, copyright, trademark, and more. Visit rkpalaw.com to learn more. That's rkpalaw.com. Ryan A. Kairalla, PA, Miami, Florida.
Streaming services for Break the Business provided by LEK Entertainment. LEK Entertainment is a full-service entertainment company offering everything from consultations to full-scale events and productions, including audio and video productions, voiceovers, staged theatrical productions, script and music development, and streaming services. For more information, visit lekentertainment.com. LEK Entertainment wants to help you bring your story to life.
Thanks for supporting Break the Business. If you have a question or topic that you want us to discuss, email us at breakthebusiness@gmail.com. You can follow the host, that's me, on Twitter at Ryan Kair, and you can follow the show at the BTB Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the show on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, and on all major podcast platforms. And now, let's get back to the show. Welcome back to Break the Business, everybody. Ryan Kairalla here with Katie Zaccardi. According to our friends at CNN, Katie, the clubhouse leader right now for Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce portmanteau nicknames are Trailer, Swelsey, and Tavis. I don't know if I like Tavis that much. I feel like, as far as I'm concerned, it's either Swelsey or Trailer Quift, I think is what we have to go with.
Wait, what was the first one?
It was Trailer and Tavis.
Tavis. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, not loving, not feeling Tavis. Thank you all for checking out Break the Business this week. We are thrilled to be chatting with you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for telling a friend, for those 5-star reviews, for checking us out on Slam Radio, on SiriusXM. Wherever you are enjoying this program, we are just so darn glad that you are. And I am so darn glad to be welcoming back one of my favorite guests on this program. He is a music executive and co-founder of 117, a company that talked business called, quote, one of the most dynamic companies of today's entertainment industry. You can find out more about our guest's work by visiting 117, that's ONEONE, the number 7.com. We are happy to welcome back Jason Davis on to Break the Business. Hello, Jason.
How are you?
Doing so well. Before we start, let's get you in on the news of the day. Any thoughts on the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce football extravaganza?
I had no idea about it up until a couple of days ago. But I hope he doesn't end up in a song.
Oh, but I'm kind of hoping he does, though. Like, obviously, I don't want him to be sad. And like, I don't wish the pain of a breakup, especially a breakup that epic, on anybody. But can you imagine the banger of a song we would get from Taylor Swift if she wrote about the downfall of this particular relationship? Oh my God, it would be spectacular.
It would be spectacular.
So it's been a few years since we've had you on, Jason. Completely my fault. I should not let so much time pass between our conversations because I love your insight. Can you tell us a little bit about what you've been up to since 2019?
Just working hard, developing artists, trying to get artist record deals and managing artists. And same thing I've always been doing. Thanks to God, it's been busy. But pretty much the same thing I was doing last time we spoke, and it is good to see you again.
Yeah, busy is better than the alternative, I always say. And in terms of staying busy, I think that kind of translates a lot to the advice you often give to creative professionals to find success. You talk a lot about working hard and challenging yourself. I've read some of the tips that you give songwriters in the past on how they can find success. And I got a few quotes here of yours that are just gems, Jason. You've said, quote, you should be writing a little bit every single day. Challenge yourself to write at least one song a week. You should be constantly studying the top 20 to 50 songs, studying song titles, song content. You really advocate a kind of a relentless, meticulous approach to songwriting where you're constantly creating, constantly studying the marketplace. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I've just found throughout my journey in the music industry, whether it was me when I started out as a songwriter or artist I represent, that the trajectory of what happens for them or what doesn't happen for them, at the end of the day, it really does come down to mainly the songs. I mean, obviously, someone's story is important and how interesting of a person someone is important. So many other factors, but I really have just always seen that the foundational aspect, the core of it all, it is a business of songs, and how good your song actually is that goes to radio or gets put on, like you were talking, streaming services or social media. I've worked with artists that have really big careers, and it is because of the song that they had and other factors like their voice and the production and the marketing and branding behind it. But and then I've seen artists completely fail and in hindsight realized that a lot of it had to do with the song.
Do you find a common thread among songwriters that don't reach their full potential in your eyes? Are there mistakes that you see that happen a lot with these kind of songwriters, something they're not doing, something that they should be doing, or something that they are doing that they shouldn't be doing?
I will say that a lot of the aspiring artists I meet, they don't write the way that I used to write. Songwriting is what got me into the industry many years ago. And I wrote for probably about 9 years before I wrote my first and very important estate only hit song I ever wrote, by myself. I wrote one right song in 9 years. And in hindsight, so powerful because I could look back 25 years later throughout my career and tell you that there wasn't another song there that I wrote that could have been a hit. And I would say the first 4 years I was writing of those 9 years, I would go on these spurts where I'd write 1 or 2 songs a day, 3 songs a day. And then I would go through periods where maybe for a week or so I didn't write anything. But then the last 5 years I wrote of those 9 years before I broke into the industry, I wrote every single day for 5 years, and I would write 1 to 4 hours every single night for 5 years straight. I mean, maybe there was a few days off that in there, but I can't remember there being days that I didn't write.
All right, I got to probe this a little more because that seems baffling to me. Just, I mean, if like I think about like the way I use TikTok, for example, Jason, where if I make 5 TikTok videos and none of them go viral, I'll like stop using the platform for a month. I have a lot of quit in me. I see Katie, like a fellow TikToker, smiling at that as well. How does one get the discipline to not just write, but write relentlessly with unyielding commitment for years at a time and not get that hit because you are just confident? You know that that hit is down the road and you just have to keep hammering away. How does one do that? How do you do that?
Well, that's a very amazing question. So for me, and I can mainly only speak for myself, I've asked over the years, I've had some key questions. Like every time I meet an artist, I'm always like, how did the record deal happen? Tell me the record deal story. And I've asked a lot of songwriters and artists, how many songs did you write before you got a record deal? How many songs did you write before the first song landed on a record or whatever? But I've never actually asked other writers what the driver was for them. I just know other writers wrote every day like I did. For me, and I would think I'm not the norm, but when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, sorry to go really deep here, but I was pretty heavily abused by my dad. And there was daily beatings for a couple of years, and it really broke me. And I was just very angry, devastated, and just broken. And, when you're a kid, I was 12, 13 when that happened. I tell people, like, when you're a 13-year-old or a 12-year-old, there's really no safe place to go to tell someone that you're being abused. Like, if I went to an adult, I was afraid that my dad would go to jail. And then it's like, what happens to our family? Do we become homeless? And if you go to a friend, like a male friend, you'll immediately be a loser if you're 12, 13, crying on your male friend's shoulder. And if you're 12, 13 and you go to some girl's shoulder, you're definitely going to get kicked off her shoulder. And so there was really nowhere safe to go. And my cousin was getting rid of this acoustic guitar that her boyfriend had. And I got it from her because she was going to throw it out. And it went into my bedroom. I think I was 15. And it was the first time since that happened to me that I had an outlet, like a healthy outlet, not an angry outlet. And I found songwriting extremely therapeutic for me, and it was releasing a lot. And I was able to express myself and express the pain and the hurt. And it was almost like there wasn't enough songs I could write to get it all out. And so I became addicted, literally, to the feeling of expressing myself and writing songs and getting my feelings out and emotions out. And I just literally couldn't stop. And I never was doing it thinking I would get into the music industry, because that didn't feel very realistic to me. And I actually never thought about getting in the music industry. I didn't think I was good enough, and I wouldn't even have known how to do that. I would just make demos every year with friends and on my own, and probably record my favorite 4 or 5 songs a year, give them out to friends and family. And the whole time, for the 9 years I was writing, never once thought about the music industry. It was just my hobby. It was like my passion. It was like my addiction in life. And that was the driver.
So to perhaps explain the drive to write songs for years at a time without seeing that hit is you weren't necessarily chasing that hit. You were chasing, you needed to write. This was your outlet. This was, as you described, your addiction. And so it sounds like you would have kept writing even if the hit never came, because you were being driven by something other than finding the hit.
Yeah. What happened is, as I got older, I would say into my mid-20s, I started getting just a touch happier, like not a lot happier, but just a touch happier. And my life started getting a little bit more stable, not a lot stable, but a little bit more stable. And as I became a little happier in my mid-20s and a little bit more stable in my mid-20s emotionally, the desire to write actually disappeared. And I stopped writing songs. And then I was actually very passionate about finding artists. And, I had already landed some songs on records, and I was already in the music industry as a writer. So it was kind of like a dream I didn't even know I could dream came true. But once I got a little happier in life, the passion and desire to write kind of literally left.
Wow, Katie, I this is not a phrase I like to utter on this show when I'm giving an interview, but I got to say, Katie, I'm not sure what to do with that. I mean, like, help me kind of sift through this, the two of you, because this is a show that is all about trying to bring the best out of creators, to give them concrete strategies to find success and, become the best version of themselves artistically. And from what I'm hearing from Jason Davis is that a big driver of his creativity in his own life was just this pain that he went through that, sparked this creativity. And once the pain resolved itself, once he found the happiness he was looking for, his relationship to creativity changed. And to reiterate, I'm not sure what to do with that. That is powerful sentiment.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing all of that with us, Jason. Really powerful story. And I think even though, I hope that you're the outlier in terms of what you went through, because no one should go through that. But I am sure a lot of listeners will really resonate with your story in a lot of ways, because so many musicians and so many creatives go to that for the processing. But something that I think is really interesting, it's kind of twofold, but I feel like they relate. But this aspect of not pushing so hard for this goal, like you not needing to be a superstar, but then getting, the hit or getting the cut and then being able to pursue the career that you wanted. Even though it seems counterintuitive, I sometimes think that is a really powerful thing that musicians should practice, is detachment. Like not worrying so much about the goal or the what if or the Grammy or the, creating in order to achieve whatever thing, but really just creating to create and to share your story and to share what you want to say. And that's how you get better, because when you are creating, trying so hard to make a hit or to reach a goal, you are morphing yourself and you are morphing your art into something to serve a purpose, as opposed to just writing from your soul. And people don't connect to the contrived art. They connect to the art that is you genuinely saying what you want to say. And I just, that's really my big takeaway from it. But go ahead.
Yeah, one thing I try to always tell songwriters and artists I meet is, if I, especially ones that are not writing a lot and are trying to write more, I always use this. I don't know if it's good, but I use it. I'll always say, I don't play golf. And if I decided tomorrow I wanted to try to be Tiger Woods, the worst thing I could do is show up at the golf course and get a scorecard and get a pencil. Like, what I need to do is I need to find a way to enjoy the fact that I'm outside, there's birds chirping, this is beautiful. Like, there's people that are at work right now, or are less fortunate, and here I am on a golf course looking at this beautiful scene, and try to enjoy it and have fun with it. And so I say to them, like, maybe 6 months in, one time grab a scorecard and see where you are, and then don't probably pick up a scorecard for the next 6 months. And so it is important to find a way to focus on the beauty of it, the enjoyment of it, the fact that you actually get to do it. So yeah.
I dig that. Our guest is Jason Davis, the music executive and co-founder of 117, acclaimed company. And this is why we have him on, viewers and listeners, because we get this really powerful insight. And I'm a really big fan of everything you're doing, Jason. And I'm thrilled that you made the time for us. Before we let you go this week, Jason, one last question for you. Do you have any last tips for the indie creators out there to help them move their careers forward?
I would just say, this is probably general, but there's nothing more powerful than focusing on your craft. Embracing weaknesses and not being afraid to go through the discomfort of focusing on weaknesses. Obviously, it's about strengthening strengths, and then sometimes creatives will focus a lot on what comes easy, on what they enjoy to do. But to become truly great, you do have to focus on the areas you're good at, but you do also have to focus on the areas that don't come as easy and aren't as natural. And we're all created in a way that no one on this earth, period, is great at everything. When it comes to a job or what they do. And so not being good at something or not enjoying a part of your job or what you're doing, it is part of, like, as you said, the process. It's part of the journey. And if you could embrace it and try to focus on it, on how to grow the weak areas or the things that don't come as easy, I do believe that that's a very big key to becoming great.
Find out more about our guest's work by visiting ONEONE7.com. Jason, let us not allow as much time to pass between our conversations. This has been a real treat.
Real treat for me too. It was really good seeing you again.
Right on. Jason Davis, everybody, music executive. I got to ask you this, Katie. I mean, I'm just blown away I'm as blown away as you are by that conversation.
Yeah.
When I hear Jason talk about success and what it often looks like, it reminds me a lot of what I've heard creators say about their own relationship with success. I think a lot of times we think of success as a gradual climb up a mountain. You know, you're trying to get to 100, and by year 1 you're at 10, and then you're at 25 by year 2, and then you're at like 30 by year 3, and you just work up until you get to 100, and it's like a steady climb up this mountain. And really what I often think success is, can for a lot of people, can be the way Jason Davis's experience was, where you are at 0 year after year after year. 5-6 years of playing to clubs where 5 people show up, or less than 5 people show up, or nobody shows up. And it's year after year of that. And then it all happens at once, or it happens in a very short burst. And you have to sit through the 5, 6, 7, 8 years of less than 0. And then it, boom, all explodes. And it's not as much an exercise of climbing up a mountain as much as it can be just hanging in there until you eventually get to the elevator, and you have to wait years for that elevator to come. And that's I can imagine that being a challenge for a lot of creators, because if you're waiting years to get, the burst up the mountain, what keeps you motivated when you're just, when you don't have fans for year after year?
Honestly, Ryan, I think we should have this larger conversation on another podcast episode where we can go more into it, because I have a lot to say about this. And it's something I've been almost experiencing in my own life right now, where I'm just dealing with that question of what is success? What do I want? How can I be happy in whatever in between area I might be in? And I think that a big thing we could take from what Jason said, and something that I think is really, really important, is finding peace and finding happiness no matter what stage of that success trajectory you are on, because you will not be able to hang if you are not able to hang with yourself, because it's going to be hard and it's going to have ups and downs. And honestly, I think that entrepreneurship, and if you are a musician, you are an entrepreneur, or if you're trying to, make it as your job, you are an entrepreneur. It is one of those things that will push you to learn more and more about yourself, and to heal the things that you are needing to heal, and to deal with whatever demons are coming up, because it can be so challenging, but that is how you get through it. Sometimes growth and staying on the road to success is literally just working on and working with yourself so that you do not lose your shit. Pardon my French. But I genuinely think that's one of the big keys.
Well, and you're right. This is a deeper conversation we have to have. We will put a pin until we have you on again next time, Katie, because you're right. This is a cool, in-depth conversation. I want all of your insights on it. Before we close this week, viewers and listeners, we have a very special treat for you. This is something that admittedly we do not do nearly enough, and I will endeavor to do this more often. But we have a musical interlude for us here. We're going to close out the show with a track by an artist named Tyler Miller. This is from his debut EP, Sophia. It's available now. The track is called Switch. And if you are an indie creator and you want to have your music on the show, email us at breakthebusiness@gmail.com. Maybe we'll get you on the program, play you on satellite radio. But in the meantime, we're going to close with Switch by Tyler Miller here on Break the Business. Our thanks to producer Lauren, Katie Zaccardi, Jason Davis, and all of you for checking us out. We'll see you next week.
Update your life won't fix it. You seem ungrateful. Would it help to notice you've been switching focus? Yeah, you think it's time, but you just too hard on yourself. It's not fair. It's not fair. You Stop moving forward, living for knowing. Up in your head for way too long. You're 6 feet under, sleeping sound. But I couldn't know it, 'cause I never showed him that I couldn't say those words out loud. Burn one for you too many times. Update your life, won't fix it. You seem ungrateful. Would it help to notice you've been switching focus? Yeah. Walk through my mind, but you think too much of yourself. It's not fair. It's not fair. Stop moving forward, living for no one. Up in your head for way too long. 6 feet under, sleeping sound. They couldn't know it, 'cause I never showed them that I couldn't say those words out loud. Switching for you too many times.
Break the business, play is work and work is play. Power in the creators, have fun along the way. Break the business, doing what it takes. Celebrate success and learn from the mistakes.